Your training should reflect your goals. Now, a lot of times people have goals that are aesthetically driven. They want to look a certain way. Other people might have goals that are numbers and strength driven. I want to lift a certain amount of weight. But more times than not, most people also, in conjunction with looking better and lifting heavier weights, they want to move and function better in the things that they are currently doing. They want to enjoy being athletic in whatever athletic terms that means for you. So whether that's mountain biking, playing basketball, playing softball, golfing, you want to be able to move and function well as long as you can. So I think a lot of the times the goal of aesthetics is often assumed to help you with the goal of athletics, and that's not necessarily true. In order to train so you can perform well in the activities you like to do, your training probably needs to be different than that of your favorite bodybuilder or powerlifter. Your training should reflect what those activities demand of you. And this is one of the biggest issues I see. I see a lot of people who dedicate a lot of time, they lift heavy weights, they change their body and how it looks, but it doesn't necessarily change the way it functions. It's not operating in a more effective way than it was before. Now, they might be stronger and can lift more weights and look better, and that's part of their goal, and that's great. But they're not actually seeing any of the athletic results. Oh, I'm still a step slower than I used to be. I can't play basketball or softball or mountain bike or hike, whatever it might be, as much as I'd like. Why is that? Well, odds are their training doesn't actually enhance their abilities to do that. And when it comes to some of those qualities that are quote unquote athletic, we need to think about doing things that forces our body to jump, run, sprint, change direction, because all of those have the lowest common denominator of making our feet and ankles work in a cyclic manner in which we're absorbing and handling impacts. Think about walking upstairs. Your foot hits the ground and every stair as you walk up the stairs. What's happening is an impact every time. Same when you run, same when you move, change of direction. Now, those demands on your muscles in your feet all the way up to your quadriceps and your core forces a very different neurological, neuromuscular firing pattern of that of just, say, squatting or lifting weights. The difference is when we have these movements that are cyclic and quote-unquote athletic, we have these ballistic contractions. We're leaving the ground. And in doing so, we're in what's called an open chain. We're in the air. And when we're in the air, our feet and our brain have to work together to organize themselves to hit and land in the right spot over and over again so we can produce fluid, athletic-looking movements. Now, when you think about that, your powerlifting and bodybuilding training probably doesn't really address much of that at all. Instead, you might want to do some powerlifting work. You might want to get stronger, and that's great. But you also might want to add in some additional athletic-ish movements. Jump, run, sprint, change of direction. Move light weights fast. Be powerful. All these can really help you in the long run. Because often we only think about training in terms of muscle. How is your muscle functioning? But not the context of how that muscle is functioning in daily life. So while we might be preserving some of the physiological, structural qualities of muscles by lifting weights, like getting your biceps bigger and building the physiological mass of it, we're not actually improving the way it functions in our daily lives. And so having a little bit of both can be very beneficial. This is one of the biggest issues I commonly see. And so next time you go lift weights, you don't need to go run a 100-meter dash and sprint all out. Because again, you don't go the first time when you're back lifting, max out on your bench press or squat. That's not advisable. So why would you go sprint the first time when you haven't in a while? But work back into it. Maybe having some of that athletic influence in your training can help you build up to the point where you can do things like jumps and sprints and change of direction with maximal effort multiple times, maybe near maximal effort multiple times in a week, So you can do it and build that capacity in a way that helps you in your daily life, in your own athletic endeavors. So that's one of the big things I see. And that's, again, why we want to kind of always be an athlete, always train like an athlete. So we ourselves can progress in all of our athletic feats that we take on in our daily life. At the same time, again, we can still lift heavy and, build up our biceps and look good doing it. Doesn't mean we can't. Just doesn't mean we should forget about these other important aspects of movement as a whole.